In this video, I'm going to show you how to put windows and a roof on your building in your digital landscape. So when we're drawing in one-point perspective like this, one side of the building is supposed to be facing us, so it's just a rectangle. To put windows on that side of the building is easy because they're just rectangles as well. Let's zoom in a little bit. And we'll just make a row of big windows like this. Let's change the fill to black. Good. So now with it selected, I'm going to duplicate it with a Command or Control D, and that will place a copy right on top of it. I'm going to move it down, and then I'm going to duplicate again, Command or Control D, and this time it places the window at the same spacing that I moved it to last time, which is really handy. So I can do a whole row of windows with repeating the Command or Control D for duplicate. So that side's all done. Now, to do the side that we're seeing in perspective, where the top and the bottom have an angle that points directly towards the vanishing point. The windows are going to do the same thing. I'm going to start with a rectangle, change the fill to black, and then I'm going to need to select it and convert to path. So I can use the subselect tool to move individual points. Okay, so this point, this top line, the line of the top of the window, should, if you extend it towards the vanishing point, that will give you the angle of the top line of your window. So we're pretty close right there, the way I have it. I might just nudge it down with the down arrow key, and as long as that point is selected, I can move it down with the down arrow keys of my keyboard. Let's do the same for this point. Let's reach this out and see where it should be by noticing how close the bottom of the window is to the blue line that I have drawn. It's pretty close. It could, again, just go down maybe 1 or 2 arrow. Okay, now we've got one. We can duplicate it. But again, we're going to need to make some adjustments with the subselect tool. We don't have to convert it to a path this time, because it already is a path that we copied. So it looks like this could move up a bit. I'm going to drag it out to right to our vanishing point to see. Looks like my top line needs to go up just a touch. Let's do the same with the bottom point. Oh, and see how my window is much lower than the blue line? I need to bring it up quite a bit, the bottom line of the window. It's closer to that. Okay, let's duplicate again. Command or Control D. Now this time we are right above the horizon line. We're pretty much right on top of it. Let's see what happens if we drag this point out to the vanishing point. It's supposed to be way up there. So let's try and pick a new point for our top line. And let's drag this bottom point out. Oh, it's supposed to be much higher too. Let's try and hit that exact spot. That seems okay. I think the whole window needs to come down though a little bit to be even with the other window. Okay, let's duplicate it again. Use the subselect tool to check your angles by dragging the point out towards the vanishing point. It should be much higher. So notice how the angles were going down when we were at the top, and now that we're below the horizon, the angles are going up. And that's pretty close now. But we have to check the bottom as well. That, as I suspected, needs to move up quite a lot. Something like that seems right. I do think we need to bring the whole window down though. Once again, just a little higher than the other side. I'm going to move it down with the arrow key, just tapping it a few times until it looks even with the other side. And then I'm going to duplicate it one last time. Oh, and it jumps into place. Let's make those adjustments with the subselect tool. Ooh, it needs to go really high. And this one will need to move up as well. So that's how you do the windows in perspective. And you can make all kinds of different windows, and they will all follow the same rules. So in order to make a roof, I was thinking about a roof with a lot of little scallops. Let's start with an ellipse. Zoom on in here. I'm going to give that a fill of red. For some reason it is going behind. So let's tell it to bring element forward. Okay. I'm going to zoom in more. Okay. Now I'm going to do Command D, Command or Control D, which is duplicate, and move another one over up here, following the line of the top of the building. Then I'm going to do it again and again and again until I've covered the whole edge. I'm going to hold Shift down, and I'm going to go back and select each one of those ellipses, holding Shift. And then I'm going to make a compound shape out of them with the union. I would like the top to be a straight line though, so this is how I'm going to do that. I'm going to make a rectangle in the same color. I'm going to rotate it and move it on top. Stretch it out to be long enough Get it to just the right size. Oops. And then I will select the rectangle and the compound shape, holding down Shift, and do union again, so it's all of it one compound shape. And then I will duplicate that and move it over and rotate it. And I will duplicate it again to get enough of it to cover the whole area. Okay, that looks okay, except I've got this extra bit sticking off. So we can remove the part we don't need with the subtract tool under the compound shapes tools. Let's just make a rectangle. And we will hold down Shift and select the other shape we want to cut, and then subtract. Now it is not too long anymore. So that's one way you can make a fancy roof. There's probably a lot of other ways. We'll let you play around with the compound shapes tools and figure out something of your own. Thanks for watching. See you next time.